Hey guys, this is Austin, and this is the brand new Audi e-tron. Now Audi was awesome enough to sponsor our trip out here to San Francisco for the launch event, and I've got to say, I want one. Like I really want one. The e-tron brand has been around for a couple years now, primarily on the A3 e-tron. It's a cool car, but it is a plug-in hybrid, whereas this is fully electric. Something I really appreciate about the e-tron is that it actually doesn't look ugly. That might sound like a backhanded compliment, but a lot of electric cars straight up do look like science projects. This looks like a classic Audi with a little bit of an electric flair. One of the easiest ways to spot that this is an e-tron and not a standard Audi is going to be with the grille. Now it looks similar, but the main difference here is that it actually isn't a full grille. So in fact, this is the only area that will actually open it up, and that's purely based on how you need to cool the battery or stuff like the air conditioning. When you're on the freeway, it can all close up, and this is going to be fully aerodynamic. Take a look inside the e-tron. What you're going to find is something that is very much classic Audi, but with a lot of nice tech touches. So you can get all kinds of information up on here. For example, you can get a giant high-resolution Google map, or you can get some more of the performance data, some more of the economy stuff, as of course you're driving an electric vehicle and you want to be able to see how efficiently you're driving. There's a bunch of different things that you can do with virtual cockpit, but that, my friends, is just the beginning. You also have two additional screens here in the center console. So this is going to be the main display. It works for things like your navigation, and it does have this nice little haptic touch feature, which is shared with not only this display, but also the one in the back seat. This is where you're going to do primarily most of the stuff in the vehicle. You can pull up like CarPlay, your settings, whatever you want to do. And below that is where you can control all of the different climate control stuff and a couple of other settings. So if I want, I can say just turn up the fan, I can set the dual zone climate control, or you can do a couple of other things like say open your garage door or turn off the screens altogether. Unfortunately, we're not actually connected to the internet right now, but if we were, I could show you that Alexa is built into the e-tron. Now, this is a new partnership with Amazon, and it's the full version of Alexa, which is using LTE to be able to ask it, well, pretty much anything you'd want. So in theory, you can say on your way home, hey, Alexa, start my garage door opener? Something really cool that's sadly not coming to the US is the virtual mirror. Now right now it's going to be exclusive to Europe, mostly because of the regulations here, but essentially it replaces the standard mirrors with cameras. So what this means is that not only is it going to help with aerodynamics, but this little section right here is going to be replaced with an OLED display, which will then show you what's going to be going on behind you. On top of that, it will even adjust the view based on how quickly you're driving. So you might see a little bit of a wider view on the freeway or a little bit of a tighter view when you're on a side street or whatever the case is, but it's going to be fully adjustable, and it's a freaking camera on a screen in your side mirror thing. I want it. The star of the show here is definitely the electric powertrain. Now you actually can kind of see this from the outside. So underneath the floor of the cabin is going to be the full 95 watt-hour cell. There is a lot of engineering that goes into that battery cell. So on top of being about the largest capacity that you can get on any electric vehicle right now, there's going to be a lot of safety and importantly, a lot of cooling inside. So the entire bottom of the battery is all going to be liquid cooled. And on top of that, the crash structure around it is hugely important because, you know, if someone hits your car, you don't want your batteries to be impacted. So not only is there going to be an actual crash structure on the side of the cell, but each individual battery cell, there are going to be 36 of them that take up the actual battery space. They're all going to be individually protected with a very strong steel frame. There's not a final US range number available for the e-tron yet, since it won't be going on sale until next year, but based on the European cycle, you should expect 200 plus miles on a charge. And that combined with the ultra fast charging should mean that, well, I don't care, it's fine, it's plenty for me. The e-tron will charge at up to 150 kilowatts. Now, as far as I know, that's about the quickest electric vehicle charge that you can find. At a full 150 kilowatt hour charge, what you can do is you can get this thing from 0% to 80% in 30 minutes. The e-tron is powered by a pair of electric motors, one on the rear axle, one on the front. Now, in addition to giving you the full Audi Quattro experience of all-wheel drive, you're going to be getting some pretty decent power. So the finalized figures aren't in just yet here in the US, but you should expect somewhere in the neighborhood of 350 to 400 horsepower. And importantly, since it is an electric vehicle, you're going to have a lot of torque and it's going to be instant. There's also a boost mode on board. So if you want just a little bit of extra power, say you're trying to outrun Marquez or something, not that I would ever do that in an e-tron, then there's actually going to be a little bit of extra power for a few seconds, which you can engage either by putting the car in sport mode, or if you really floor the throttle, there's actually a button on the back side of the pedal, which will then give you just a little bit of extra juice for a few seconds. Even though it's an electric vehicle, you're not giving up a lot of practicality. So this has standard air suspension, which you can see is currently lowering all the way down. You have a couple inches of play, whether you want to go off-road or you want to go into dynamic mode, which is the fun mode. You should drive it in fun mode. And if you really want to go crazy with it, this can actually tow up to 4,000 pounds if you get the tow package, which I just kind of want to try because, you know, an electric car that's fast and roomy and can tow. I'm just really trying to sell my fiance on this right now, so just between us, just roll with it, okay? What really impresses me with the e-tron is that it feels like it is the full package. Sure, you're getting an electric vehicle, but it's also a luxurious Audi with all the bells and whistles, and importantly, all the functionality that you would expect. I was kind of surprised to say this, but I'm glad that Audi really sponsored a trip out here because I legitimately want an e-tron.